What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of the Pancakes and Power Slam show. We got a fun topic today. Of course, unfortunately, the passing of Hulk Hogan, but we're gonna have a fun topic talking about it. So let's go. It's share time, man. Please excuse my tension right now. I was at the gym tonight, as I do every night, and I pulled something in my back while I was lifting, man. And that sucks because I stretch every day. And, you know, a lot of people on here know I have a horrible back, but I pressed through it and train hard every day despite having horrible back problems. And yeah, it sucks, man, because I was lifting and I just felt like I pulled something again, man. And yeah, I did that a few weeks ago too, and unfortunately it stayed for about close to a week. It got better, and Yeah, man, I feel like I pulled something again. So, but it'll get better, just like it always does. Always does, like it always does. Always does. It's gonna get better, just like the weather. No more rain, but we got sun. Sometimes life is rough like weather, like leather. So is the weather, but it's okay because it's gonna get better. My back feels horrible, but it's okay. It's gonna get the better way. God's gonna make it a better way. Make it a better way. I'm in so much pain I can't freestyle. It's lame. Try to freestyle while your back pain is like, ooh, I'm trying to think straight, but it's all right, man. It's all fun. It's all fun. All right. So we got some fun to talk about tonight. Talking about Hulk Hogan. Definitely trying to do my best with keeping this in a way that's going to not affect my back. But we got some fun stuff to talk about. I got some clips, ladies and gentlemen. I got some clips. Y'all like when I bring up some clips and break it down from a psychological perspective. And so that's what I'm going to do on tonight for all the church people. You know, your pastors, your old school black pastors. They don't say tonight. They say on tonight. Have no idea why they say that. But, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get old school. I'm gonna get old school black pastor and say we're gonna have a good time on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on tonight. All right. So without further ado, let's dive. Okay. So I'm gonna break this show in segments. All right. So I'm gonna show a few clips from a sports writer, very popular sports writer, Bomani Jones. He had some interesting things to say about Hulk Hogan. He's not. He doesn't watch wrestling. He hasn't watched wrestling. He watched wrestling when he was a kid. He actually he actually banged on people who watch wrestling as adults, which is interesting. And he said, if you're above 12, you shouldn't be watching wrestling. Typical typical adult comments from people who aren't in the business, who don't really understand this culture. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are in the culture that it's making the culture very, very difficult to understand too. But for people who aren't in the culture, like a Bomani Jones, it's making it difficult too, because he's like, okay, I don't get this Hulk Hogan like stuff. I don't get the Hulk Hogan legacy. I don't get, the word legacy being thrown. I don't get the hype of Hulk Hogan. A lot of these commentators are shock jockers too, and they have wild takes on purpose, you know what I mean? And so that comes with the territory too. But I do want to dissect it. I do want to dissect some of the comments that he made. And we'll talk about it. Then we're going to bring up a couple of things. We're going to bring up a couple of clips, or one more clip from a very, very popular, now unfortunately deceased black wrestler who actually spoke very highly of Hulk Hogan and actually gave him advice to go to Vince and get more money. So we're going to talk about that. What's up, everybody who's in the chat? We see the likes are going up. Be sure to like that. That boosts the algorithms up, and it's a live show too. So if y'all like this, I got people on here. Match the likes with the people who are watching. All you have to do is, as you're watching it, a lot of people are watching on their phones or their tablets. The only thing you have to do is just you see your phone. Here you go. Boop. That's all you got to do. One hand you're holding with your phone, the other hand, unless you're eating something or drinking something, put it down. Put it down. Have a free hand, and only thing to do, you see this phone? Boom, just like it. That's all I gotta do. So if you like it, that means the algorithms boost, especially when it's live. And if someone's trying to find what they're up, and it's almost midnight, and someone's like, I wonder what pro wrestling stuff is going on right now live that I can be a part of. Guess what? This will pop up in their algorithms because y'all are helping other people come and have a wonderful night with us, just like we always do. So do that for me. I'm going to bring out an excerpt from a book, and then I'm going to go to the poll that I had about a day and a half ago, but a little over a day ago, about should we forgive Hulk Hogan? Should we forgive the transgressors of Hulk Hogan because he's passed away? So, got a few segments, and we are going to have a lot of fun. Of course, we have the questions at the end. Hashtag Ask Doc, and I'll pull them up at the very end. And let's get those watch hours up too. I'm almost to the point of monetizing this show, and I'm really excited about that. Actually, I'm only a little bit of watch hours away from getting to that. I'll work long and daggum hard to be able to monetize the show. Thankfully, I've got some great patrons that support the show on Patreon. But at the same time, hey man, I put a lot of work into this show to make it to your viewing pleasure. I get a lot of compliments as far as just how I present the show, as far as just making it a vibe, as far as the setup, as far as the camera shots, as far as the professionalism and the production. I spent a lot of money on this, and because I like to do what I do, and I made it. Thankfully, I've made it back within my pro wrestling endeavors within Sportskeeda and here. I've made it back. But at the same time, it's a lot of money, man. So in order for me to spend the time to edit, spend the time to produce more product, to produce more, to have the time, the availability to produce more content for you all, I need your support. So I need you to watch this show. And so we can get some super chats, join the Patreon. It's less than $1 a week. And so all those things will absolutely help me continue to build this show up. Speaking of building the show up, let's that was the build up to the the main attraction here. All right. So let's go to I got a few clips here. So we're going to start with the Bomani Hunter clip. We're going to start off the first of him talking about people grave dancing after hearing Hogan's death. And again, man, I just don't get it. I don't get it. But let's talk about it. So let's start with this, and the comments are flooding. That's fantastic already, man. This show is awesome. This show, I love doing this show. I love doing this show. It's always so fun, so awesome, and y'all are awesome. All right, let's bring this let's bring the Bomani Hunter clip up, and we will take it from there. This was called "Why Hulk Hogan Was Overrated," from Bomani Jones. So let's find out why he thinks Hulk Hogan was overrated. Let me know if y'all can hear this. Let's do it.
Did a little grave dancing when Hulk Hogan died. I don't think I danced on his grave. I may have sent a couple of texts that said prayers down. However, there was definite grave dancing. And a big part of why there was grave dancing was, quite honestly, people have been getting these Hulkamania jokes off now for a really, really, really long time. Like the folks in the Tweetosphere have been preparing for Hulk Hogan to die for a very long time. And all the jokes they had been getting off already, they were set to get off. This was just what it was, right? There's a whole lot of memes around it. Ryan, you ever seen the meme of him in the NWO get up and he spray painting the N on the wall?
I've not seen that one.
Yeah. Presumably in real time, he was doing NWO, but given all the other stuff.
Given the things we've learned.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. It's kind of like that South Park, what you call it?
Yes, people who annoy you.
Yeah, yes. There we go. Like that's kind of what we had. So, we've been ready for this to happen.
Yeah, okay. So, again, when you have that type of shock jock, making comments to cause some mental stimulation from the audience, that comes with the territory. So, I don't, I don't have any ill will towards Bomani Johnson. I just don't. I just think that that's a very, ridiculous comment. But, you're not the N in the NWO when he's spray painting in isn't because he's trying to have a derogatory term when he's spraying it. I mean, it's again, this is the same person. This guy right here is the same person that said that he doesn't watch wrestling, as an adult, and adults shouldn't watch wrestling. And I mean, there's a part of me that feels that way in a sense. I do think about that at times, but at the same time, it's just not it's not a lot of credence to what he says as far as just the knowledge of current pro wrestling. He did mention the NWO, but at the same time, it's just not a it's just not a very credible take on this. But hey, he's a sports writer, man. He did his research enough to mention the NWO, and he talked about Hulk Hogan being a kid and not understanding why legacy is the legacy is merited, but at the same time he also doesn't have the experience, the viewing experience to understand why. But he did make some fair points throughout the show, though. As far as the grave dancing is concerned, grave dancing on people's for people's death, man. It's just we are all one. That's why I always pay attention to what I do on Twitter. Always pay attention to what I do on socials. Always pay attention to that, man. It's interesting. I remember when I was like in the heat of posting spoilers, and it was like I said on the show before, it was just a lot of work and a lot of time that I didn't have, and I would just get pop-up text, and then I would spend time in between my client sessions. Instead of taking a breather, I would just report stuff. It was just taking way too much time. Sometimes I think like, man, I still report stuff on Sportskeeda. I still send some texts, to some people backstage and get backstage reactions towards stuff. But my stuff is just way more. I'll text people. I'll get backstage reactions. I'll get what people are saying backstage. I'll report it. It's more like backstage reactions instead of like spoiler stuff. Taking way too much of my time. That I just didn't have. But it's just one of those things that you have you have people like Bomani, who does his research, who's good at what he does. But at the same time, you do have to put the time in to do what you do, and to be sure that it's done well. And I understand the work that comes with journalism and sports writing and things like that, because it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of time. That is a busy schedule. But when it comes to like grave digging and like I was saying, you're really only one you're only one decision away from changing the entire trajectory of your career. I mean, your social career, your business career. You got to be very, very careful of what you say and what you do, because otherwise, I mean, it could be really, really bad for you. And sometimes I always think like, it's a blessing in disguise when, I was going through such a huge, spoiler, and just I broke the. I was watching Unreal, or I was watching the Hogan stuff about Netflix. I was watching the Unreal stuff about Netflix, and I saw, they were talking about Hogan on Netflix and things like that as far as him being on there. And I was like, you know what, man? I was the one who broke that story. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people were like, the last thing we heard was some people booing him on Netflix. And I was like, man, that's such a blessing that I was the one who broke that story as far as him being on Netflix. And it does take a lot of work. But at the same time, man, you have so many people who are just ready to just like chomp you at the bits because of how they feel about themselves. They're just ready to comment negatively about you regardless. I was just doing my job, and people still was finding some bad things to say about me doing my job and them benefiting from it. And so when it comes to Hulk Hogan's legacy, and we'll get more into these comments later, it's like when it comes with anybody's legacy, man, you're really only one decision away, or that's why you just got to be careful, because I've got myself into some spats with people, and it's just like, man, you got to be wise with this stuff, because that stuff follows you, that stuff is traced, and it's really not worth it in the end, for sure. So just it's my advice to people to just be really careful about what they do or say. It really takes you a long way. It really follows you. So Hogan, I mean, what he did, what he says follows you, but there's that. Should someone accurately describe that's just who he is? We'll get into that. We'll get into that with more clips here. All right, so this clip is this is interesting. So this was really the meat of how he felt about the whole Hulk Hogan thing. Him giving us his Hogan's resume and then saying that it's not really all that. And so this is interesting. We'll see what he says here.
I didn't quite realize that the wrestling of my very small age childhood was the beginning of the rise of wrestling, right? So I don't remember WrestleMania 1 or 2. I do remember WrestleMania 3. Well,
did you see the number of how many people watched that?
WrestleMania 3, I know it was like 80,000 people in the joint.
They aired a replay on NBC and 33 million people watched it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. That's how big Hulk Hogan was.
Yeah, they realized like that is what, but it's partly him, it's partly wrestling, it's all of this. But Ethan Ray.
No. Can't downplay, can't diminish that. That was the 93,000 that was at the Pontiac Silverdome, which is about 30 minutes north of Detroit, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It's about 30 minutes from Detroit. I think it's 30 minutes north of Detroit, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so I think when it comes to that WrestleMania 3, yes, Vince McMahon was the one who was very instrumental of being the promoter, to make that happen. But at the same time, you can promote something that is still going to cause people not to want to come. I mean, like just because you promoted it doesn't mean that they're automatically going to come. There's still going to have to be a reason why. Like, say for instance, if there's just some local band that is not very popular and is starting to get to know people, some people know them, but a lot of people don't. And there's not really a reason to want to come to the show. 93,000 people are going to come to some show just because. Even the promoter is really, really good. I mean, like I was a promoter for Christian rap events, and I still do it, not as strongly as I used to about 10 years ago, when I really started endeavoring into my PhD journeys. I had to put a halt on that because of all the time and stuff that I had to do as far as writing my dissertation and doing my PhD studies. But when I was in college, I started making income by promoting events. And I would have shows 300, 400, 500 people. I would have shows 40 people. You know what I mean? It really is oftentimes depending on the person you're promoting. Even if you put the same type of dollar amount and all the same type of push in promoting events, oftentimes it's based on the person who's being promoted. And so with Hogan, the irresistible force, the immovable object, him and Andre, you know, can he defeat the odds of, putting the big man down, who ripped off his necklace during an episode of the Brother Love show. And those are the types of thing. Or was it Brother Love, or was it Beefcake? I think it was Beefcake, wasn't it? Wasn't the butcher shop? Oh, that's going to bug me. No, because maybe it was Brother Love. Oh man, was it? I think it was Brother Love, because Brother Love always has the music playing throughout the entire show, which I think was amazing, by the way. I think it was it Piper's Pit? Oh, okay, wait a minute. Was okay. I think it was Piper's Pit, wasn't it? That's my final answer. Let's find out. Yes, Piper's Pit. It was Piper's Pit. Yep, Piper's Pit. Ripped the shirt. Yeah, it was Piper's Pit. Yep. So the Piper's Pit episode, and Hogan rips the shirt. Hogan's ripped the shirt and the chain, and all that promotion to lead up to an amazing night at WrestleMania 3. I mean, it was huge. You know, I mean, it was one of the most defining WrestleManias in the history of professional wrestling. So you can't just brush that off and say, yeah, part of it was him, part of it was wrestling, because he was the one who just was able to exude or just transition or transcend wrestling into pop culture. The rock and wrestling era, and just the train, saying the prayers, eating the vitamins, believing in himself, and things like that. So, I mean, wrestling wouldn't be what it is without Hulk Hogan, and that's indisputable. Now again, there's people who were before Hogan. There was Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. There was superstar Billy Graham. There was, of course, Lou Thez, and so many different people. George Hackenschmidt and Toots Mott. You know what I mean? And like there were so many people who set the tone, who paved the way for Hulk Hogan to be who he is. But at the same time, when it comes to transcending the business, it was Vince McMahon having the bigger picture from a business standpoint, and Hulk Hogan being the person that Vince McMahon saw has the tools to be able to transcend the business in the way that Vince wanted him to, and Hulk was able to successfully do that. So that's the non dismissive way of explaining the success of WrestleMania 3.
This question is somebody who was not really into wrestling, and he was asking, why was Hulk Hogan such a big deal? Why did people love Hulk Hogan so much? And I have spent the last 96 hours and change trying to come up with an answer to that question, and I do not have it. We all, in everything I read, stipulated that he was a giant, enormous pop culture figure, that he was the most famous of all the wrestlers. I did not see anything that I thought gave a real explanation as to why it was that this guy was that popular and that famous, right? Because the thing is, you got to win over your block before you can win over your region, before you can win over your country, before you can win over the world, right? In this case, I'm using the block as being wrestling. Like he had to win over wrestling to move into this bigger world of pop culture fame, right? How exactly he won over wrestling, and I mean the wrestling fans, not the machinations of the wrestling business, right? Just winning over and becoming such a popular wrestling fan.
Wrestling.
Vince can't make you like who you like or not like who you want to like. Like, it doesn't work that way, right? Those crowds who loved the Hulkster were real.
Sure.
We all acknowledge that he was a bad wrestler. Okay, right?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? As far as his catch can ability, Bomani's right. He's right here. Yes, he wasn't good. However, you can also say that when he was wrestling Inoki, in New Japan, he actually wasn't that bad as far as strong style. He actually was solid. He was a solid strong style wrestling. If you look at his matches in Japan and doing strong style, his older matches in Japan, not when he went toward the 90s, like the early 90s, but toward his older, like early 80s, when he was Ichiban, when he would say he was Ichiban, he actually was pretty solid, man. And so, but from a business standpoint, it's like I'm getting paid less to do more. I mean, I'm getting paid more to do less. I mean, like if you talk to any type of company owner, in the city, they oftentimes have gotten to a point in their career where they get paid more to do less because they've earned that right. That happens when you climb up the ladder. Oftentimes you get paid more to do less. Why? Because you got paid less to do more at one point in time in your life. That's just how life works. That's just how the ladder works when it comes to business. And so when it comes to Hulk Hogan, he got to a point where he realized that I didn't have to do kicks and flips. And this is something I will always respect about Hulk Hogan, man. I was watching a match, an old school match. What was it? I think one of his best entrances in WrestleMania history was when he was at Hoosier Dome in Indiana, with his match against Sid at WrestleMania 8. And how they had this set up was just amazing. And then you had the camera walking toward Hogan and zooming in as it was walking toward him. And then he turned around, was pointing, and it was just kind of giving, and the way that they had just the kind of like the panoramic view of the crowd, mixed in with the zoom. I mean, just impeccable camera work at WrestleMania 8 when Hulk Hogan came out and his entrance. I think that was one of my favorite entrances of Hogan all time. And stuff like that is what makes someone a good wrestler. It's not actual wrestling ability, because in order to become a wrestler on television, you got to have good wrestling ability. You go through training, you go through bumps, you get calloused, you go through all that. So wrestlers got to a point where, in order to get on television, they got to a point where they went through a process. Either they went through the indies or they went training into some training facility in order to make it to the big leagues. So that's like saying everybody who goes to the NBA, that's like calling somebody a bad NBA player who's in the NBA. I mean, like at the end of the day, there's better NBA players, there's the GOAT of NBA players, but every NBA player who went through what they went through to make it to the NBA, they're there for a reason. You know what I mean? Can they have bad seasons? Sure. But overall, if someone maintains a career in the NBA, doing what they're doing and staying in their lane, hey, you can't call them a bad player. Dennis Rodman, for instance. Dennis Rodman, as far as scoring points, he was horrible. But at the same time, was his lane as a power forward to score points? No. Does typically power forward's lane is to score points? Yes. But no, that wasn't his lane. Dennis Rodman is known as being one of the best, if not the best rebounder in all of professional basketball, period. Can we call him a bad NBA player because he didn't score points as a power forward? No, we can't, because he stayed in his lane. He was one of the greatest rebounders of all time, if arguably the greatest. And so Hulk Hogan stayed in his lane by knowing what to do to draw crowds. That's what Hogan's motive was. That's what Hogan's MO was. He understood. He had a big picture mentality, just like Vince McMahon did. He's like, you know what? I can do this armory territory stuff, and do a bunch of holds and all this. I can do that, but at the same time, I can also tell a story every single time I'm in the ring. I can come from behind. I can have the same formula that works as far as the big heel. The big, massive heel is looking bigger as they play big, as they work big. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to continue to work down, They're beating me up systematically. They're tearing me down systematically. Is this the person that can beat the almighty Hulkster? And all of a sudden, I'm hawking out. You. And the fans are going berserk. So when you call him a bad wrestler, as far as like catch as catch can, sure. But a bad wrestler, a bad wrestler, and from the sake of wrestling, how it should be viewed, I would say he's one of the best as far as just a professional wrestler for who a professional wrestler is overall.
We all generally stipulate that he was a bad wrestler, and the majority of the really popular wrestlers are good wrestlers.
So, and again, that stems from really not knowing the product very much. Because I would argue that there's a lot of better professional athletes than it was in Hogan's day, but there are better wrestlers then than there were now because they were larger, they were bigger. And so who's the better wrestler then? If you can do kicks and flips and Canadian destroyers and you're just like everybody else, you're not drawing money, does that make you a good wrestler? Not really. It makes you a good athlete, but it doesn't really make you a good wrestler. Hogan didn't do kicks and flips, drew one of the biggest drawers in the history of pro wrestling. That's what makes him a good wrestler.
He wasn't exactly the coolest wrestler. I mean, he ain't no Ric Flair.
See, again, stuff like this shows that he doesn't watch wrestling. Hulk Hogan was the absolute coolest wrestler back in the 1980s. He was the coolest. You had one of the greatest theme songs of all time coming down. As soon as you hear it, the fans are going bananas. They're going berserk when they hear Hogan's song. The promos, the training, the saying the prayers, the eating the vitamins, the believing in yourself, brother. All those things were absolute gold moments for Hulk Hogan. It made him the coolest wrestler to kids in the 90s. I mean, the early 90s and in the 80s. So saying that he wasn't a Ric Flair had charisma. Hulk Hogan had charisma. Ric Flair had swag, as the Horseman, but Hogan had that anomaly of he had that magneticism that was really incomparable in the world of professional wrestling.
Right? We also wind up with that part. He's not really that guy. And look,
he's not really that guy. He's the guy. He's absolutely the guy.
Low-key, his character was a little bit corny.
Was it a little bit corny? Debatable. Probably in hindsight. Sure, perhaps. But at the same time, saying that it was a little bit corny takes nothing away of the fact that it was one of the biggest and best draws in all of professional wrestling. Absolutely, without a doubt. He was, corny or not, he was the draw. He was the draw of professional wrestling in the 80s, in the 90s. Now, Flair drew, absolutely, but the crowds were typically smaller in the territories than the bigger WWE crowds. So, I mean, yeah, they would have larger houses when they do the pay-per-views, like in North Carolina. But at the same time, like to make those comments about Hulk Hogan as far as like his character was corny, like, all right, dude. Really? There wouldn't, like, Hogan is the type of person that really emphasize how important characters are. He set the tone as far as characters in pop culture. He was the rock and wrestling era. And so saying that his character was corny, I mean, come on, man. Come on. You gotta come with some better facts for sure. For sure.
Right? The training, the prayers, and the vitamins, even though we found out that the vitamins, you couldn't buy them in stores. You know what I'm saying? Like, he out here telling you take vitamins to get as big as me. Meanwhile, he putting his pants down and putting his booty out. Right? Neither here nor there.
Correct.
So why exactly is
correct? Neither here or there. You're absolutely right about that. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. In the 1980s, corny was one of the, if we picked every single word from the dictionary to describe Hulk Hogan in the 1980s, corny would be one of the last words that anybody would describe Hogan in the 1980s. Iconic, charismatic, magnetic, larger than life. Yes. Corny? Nah. In hindsight, I mean, we can name dozens of characters that were corny, as far as like, is that really you, or is that really a big character? Like, if you think of from the reality perspective, but at the same time, it's like corny. Yeah, you got it, big dog. All right, so this one is we're going to talk. All right, one last clip from the Bomani Jones show here. This one is about other races in pro wrestling not getting as much recognition as Hulk Hogan. And I'm going to bring us an interesting reference here that he said too. I'm going to bring an interesting reference from what somebody else did. So here we go. I would say on this particular clip, there's not really much to disagree with here. I think he brought up a pretty good point here.
Special kind of pain when you feel like you got a white homie and then you find out he kicking it like your granddaddy told you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's rough when you find that out. It's a unique sort of sting and betrayal that you get in those moments, right? However, we know things about Ric Flair that aren't so great. When Ric Flair dies, we're not going to break them out like that. It doesn't land the same. Like, as much as people like me loved Ric Flair, there's something different about Hulk Hogan. It just landed completely different. It just went there. It's an interesting thought, something worth considering.
I agree. I think that he actually brought a good point there. I mean, there's many stories as far as racist that we've seen videos and we've seen clips and we've seen things in books that we know of people who are documented racists and they don't have the same punch as Hulk Hogan stuff. Like we know and we herald wrestlers who have been known documented race who have made known documented racial slurs, and we still herald them. A friend of mine, a good wrestling friend of mine, JTG, he had a book, and the book was actually really funny. He had two books actually. Why did I write this book? And he had two versions of it, and I'm actually going to review here his second book, and he made an interesting chapter about idolizing somebody, and kind of had a never meet your heroes experience here, unfortunately, which sucked because it's really unfortunate that he experienced this, but unfortunately he did. All right, so I'm going to read it out to you. This is the chapter 15 in his book called Bar Promo. So I'm going to bring this up here and discuss it with you all. All right, let's do this one here. Let's do boom, share, boom. All right, so we're gonna do this one here. All right, let's do this one here. All right, so this is Bar Promo. Let's bring this down a little bit. That's good. All right. I grew up a diehard WWE fan. I always wondered what it would be to meet all my childhood heroes. Once I started wrestling, I met countless heroes of mine. Some wrestlers who I assumed would be pricks ended up being some of the coolest people ever and gave me some great experience. Jake the Snake, for example, is a guy I thought would be bitter, old vet, especially after watching the documentary Beyond the Mat. When in reality, he's down to earth, cool, and surprisingly fun. I agree. I've met and interviewed Jake multiple times, and he's actually a very cool dude, down to earth. Only two legends really disappointed me. I met them both during my time with WWE, and they're both in the WWE Hall of Fame now. One of those guys you already know from my first book, and if you don't know, shame on you. Go get my first book now. Seriously, stop reading, go get my first book. All right. Nice plug there. Second one is a legend in the wrestling business who I believe he has wrestled for every major wrestler promotion known to man. On two occasions, I've seen his true colors, and both times it was at the bar after he had a few drinks. They say a drunk man's words or a sober man's thoughts. I can definitely break that down psychologically as far as what that even means, maybe on another show. If that's the case, this legend's mind is stuck somewhere in the Jim Crow era. The first time I heard this particular legend cut a drunk bar promo was in Tampa, Florida at a sushi restaurant. It was after Monday Night Raw. The night was going great. Our food was comped, and drinks were on the house too. Now, when drinks are complimentary, some of the vets abuse the privilege. They overdo it and start cutting bar promos on people. I don't call these episodes belligerent drunk ranting. I call them bar promos. Because even if you're the victim of the insults, you're the meant that 9 times out of 10, they are highly entertaining. What amazes me about these vets is that even after consuming all that alcohol, their bar promos still manage to make sense and tell the story. I'm talking beginning, middle, highs, lows, a few dips, a thrilling finish, and captivating all the way through. I saw the late Roddy Piper, may his soul rest in peace, drunk a few times. Those few times when he was heavily under the influence, Piper would cut a bar promo, but since Piper had such good spirit and was such a loving guy, he would go around and tell people he loved them, start telling stories, and even hug and kiss Talon on the cheek in a wonderful and touching show of affection. I remember one time during a WrestleMania week, I was in the elevator with Piper. He gave me a hug, looked dead straight in my eye, and said, "You hang in there, kid. You hang in there, kid. You got a lot of charisma. I love you, okay?" This is the best Piper I could do. It was pretty bad. I love you. I love you. Then he left. I have uncles that never even told me that they loved me. That's huge. Now back to the sushi restaurant. As I was leaving, this particular Hall of Famer decided he needed to get something off his chest. In a drunken, slurring manner, the legend says to me, "Hey, you, Mr. Crime Time. I want to talk you. I want to talk to you." I think is what he meant to say. "You and your partner are a mockery to my business. I helped to build this business with my own 2 hands. If it was up to me, you all wouldn't be here. You all wouldn't be here. You all wouldn't be here. If it was up to me, you all wouldn't be here." I think we know what the "you all" means. What the "you all" means there. "We should have never accepted your kind." Your kind. And Dick Murdoch wasn't around at this time. It's definitely a Dick Murdoch type of deal here. In the business to begin with, I can't wait to give every last one of you out. You're a mockery. You hear me? A D-mockery. He was really driving the mockery point home. His wife at the time, was there, and she was completely embarrassed. "Don't mind him," she said. "He doesn't mean anything that's coming out of his mouth." Well, back then I was naive. I had a tremendous amount of respect for this man. I didn't want to believe that what he was saying to me had anything to do with race. I rationalized it and said to myself, maybe he's referring to us OVW guys, or the younger talent who he felt didn't pay their dues. Self then replied, "This old bastard is a racist." I didn't want to believe he was a racist. Someone being a racist was so taboo to me. Back then, when someone thought of someone as a racist, I automatically thought of someone who openly hated black people and was, I don't know, the classic KKK stereotype. I clearly had no clue at the time what a racist really was. What is a racist, you might ask? The average person thinks that a racism is all about hating another race. That's part of it, but it's much deeper than that. Being a racist means that you consciously or unconsciously practice racism. Racism is a system of supremacy. Racism is believing that your race is superior to all the races, and that you should receive special privileges, and you sometimes act that out by disenfranchising other races. If you want a psychological breakdown on the psychology of racism, cheap plug, go check one of my former videos out, and I would break that down from a psychological perspective. Racism has nothing to do with hating or loving anybody. I would say loving your own race over the others, and oftentimes hating the other race too, based on ignorant means. I will say that. You can love your next door neighbor, your employees, or even your significant other who happens to be black, but still deep down, and maybe without even realize it, believe that you're superior to them. That's true. Even so since I had so much respect for this man for what he has done for wrestling. I gave Mr. This Is My Business the benefit of the doubt. It wasn't until the second time I crossed paths with him and his wife at the time at a hotel bar overseas, and he really let me have it. Then it finally sunk in. I was in my bed, minding my own business, when out of the blue, my hotel phone rings. It was the front desk. They were told to inform me that my presence was needed downstairs. They said that the champ was looking for me and wanted me to join him and have a few drinks and cigars. I didn't want any heat, so of course I got dressed and went downstairs. As I got downstairs, a bunch of boys were drinking, smoking cigars, playing cards, just having a good old time, APA style, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm downstairs and the champ says, JTG is in the house. Go get yourself a drink from the bar. Put it on my tab. If you don't know who this is, there's definitely someone who's very notorious for putting drinks on his tab from others. I go to the bar and Mr. This Is My Business is there with his wife. And just like before, he's obliterated. Ordered my amaretto sour. And here he goes with his bar promo. You must think you're so over, huh? To be honest, I did think I was over. Anyway, back to the promo. Back in my day, we would have held you down and cut those stupid cornrows out of your head. You know that, boy? And there would have been nothing you could have done about it. Nothing. I didn't know how to respond. Should I even respond? This guy's hammered. His wife just shook her head and said, I'm sorry. I'm taking him up to his room now. He stopped her and said, no, he needs to hear this. While they were going back and forth, I exited stage left with my drink. Me staying or me saying anything back would have done nothing good for my career. I think that's a good point there. If I delivered some groundbreaking, motivational, emotional, moving, I had a dream speech, he would remember anyways. True, he was drunk. If I cussed him out, I would have been wrong and possibly fired. If I kicked his A, I would have got heat with Randy for stealing his gimmick as a legend killer and then definitely fired. And if the legend kicked my A, I would have been the laughing stock of the locker room. It would have been all over the dirt sheets, and I would have also been fired. It was a no-win situation. In this case, playing the game meant keeping quiet and walking away. This is this type of stuff that is very prevalent in pro wrestling. This is just one case of so many of people who are racist, who are just like blatantly racist. And they have these conversations with black wrestlers. And there was a Dick Murdoch and Tony Atlas story that Tony told that Dick Murdoch was just a very known racist. And he was telling, he's giving the "you're kind" speech, to Tony Atlas. And Tony Atlas was dealing with the same stuff. He's like, do I just absolutely obliterate this guy? And it basically just kills my career as a pro wrestler. Do I just take it? And he said that he just took it. And, he told the promoter, don't ever put me in the same car with him again, because they were riding together that day. So, stuff like that comes with the territory, man. And it sucks. It really, really, really sucks. But at the same time, it's really unfortunate, man. But a lot of times people feel like they have to stay quiet, man. It sucks. They feel like they have to stay quiet, but at the same time, that's what we deal with. All right, we got a couple more things before we hurry up and zoom through the questions. We got another clip, and then I want to do the poll that I put on Twitter, and then we'll do the questions and close the show up. So I told you we got a multi-layered show today. Lots of fun, multi-layered show today. So this clip is from, let's see here. This clip is from an old interview of a very, very popular black wrestler who's unfortunately now deceased. unfortunately to us living, is now deceased. He was on a shoot interview and he was talking about how Hulk Hogan was like wrestling in the WWFE at the time. All right, let's talk about Kamala, the Ugandan giant. This is what he had to say about Hulk Hogan.
You also worked with Hulk Hogan. What was your memories of working with Hogan?
Hogan was just like a dream come true. A champion, a true champion, and I feel comfortable working with him. He would let me do anything I wanted to do to help me get myself over. He was just a real sweetheart to work with. And the last time I worked with him was in '95. Was the same.
Now, was it true that Hogan basically gave you some advice about getting paid?
Hogan told me once. He said he came in the dressing room where we was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Spectrum, and he said, "Kamala," he said, "brother, you putting asses on the seat. I hope you getting paid because I'm getting mine." And that started me to thinking. So
You also worked with Hulk Hogan. What was your memories of working with Hogan?
Start him to thinking. Start him to thinking. Talking to Vince. Unfortunately, the status with Vince as far as his Vince stuff. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Unfortunately, the meeting with Vince didn't go too far. But at the same time, it did give him confidence to continue to be used by Hogan. Hogan continued to work with him. And he got confidence to talk to Vince to, hey, I need a raise, man. So kudos to Hulk Hogan for continuing to work with Kamala and continuing to give him good advice. Like, hey, man, get your money. Get your money. He wasn't trying to hoard everything, but hey, he wanted Kamala to get a fair share of the pot with them working together. So that's a really good thing as far as Hulk Hogan isn't always bad when it comes to he's not holding black wrestlers down. You know what I mean? As far as working with them. And so definitely a positive thing to show about Hulk Hogan. All right. Last thing we have before the questions, and my back is so tight right now, yo. So I appreciate you, y'all rocking with me. And great audience. Hit that like, hit that love, boost those algorithms. All right, so let us go into this last part here, which was the poll that I had. Lots of questions by y'all too. We usually do a lot of this on the Patreon as far as answering a lot of these questions because I don't have that much time because we got some SummerSlam trivia and some Q&A. All right, here is the poll results of my. Let's do this one here. Nope. Let's do this one. All right. Poll results for Hogan. I haven't seen him, so let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so let's do this. Let's enlarge it. All right. What are the results? So the question was, should Hulk Hogan be forgiven for his past transgressions now that he's passed away? 62% said yes. 62% said yes. All right, let's find out why people said yes or no. And here we go. My answer is no, as Hogan never offered a sincere apology for his hurtful, deplorable comments. He did in 2015 for ABC. I mean, Sincere, not sincere. I mean, that's up to you. But he did give a deep apology back in 2015. While nobody's perfect, we all regret some things we say. Those who recognize their wrongs and strive not to repeat them deserve forgiveness. Hogan has not sought forgiveness, thus his past transgressions cannot be absolved. One can hold this view while recognizing his contributions to wrestling entertainment. All right. Yeah, I mean, there's again, he's shown that he asked for forgiveness. I mean, so I don't know what else you want him to do. There are far too many people, far too many people who are black who have came to his defense and talked about how well they were treated by him and how much they are going to miss him for him to be truly be a racist. I mean, that is true. There's a lot of people who have spoke up in his behalf who are black. Sure, he was bad, but everyone makes mistakes in their life and deserve to be forgiven. It's not like there are multiple examples where the benefit of the doubt no longer can be given. This is a one-time occurrence and thus should have been forgiven years ago, not just post-death. The comment there. There are two possibilities. He used words in a trivial throwaway, like a 4chan user being edgy. Or he really had racist views, of which you have to know there's a reason and a root cause to prompt someone to harbor those views, maybe multiple negative experiences. I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world when he mentioned on a follow-up interview that he didn't know that it was derogatory and he would just hear it growing up as a kid, which made him feel comfortable. So, I mean, come on, dude. Bruh. My kids say that I do the bruh like soundbite like spot on because I talk like that, and when I say bruh, like it sounds pretty accurate. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. I don't even need the sound clip. I'll say it myself. Bruh, like that's how I feel when it comes to Hulk Hogan saying that. Come on, man. Come on now, dog. Come on, man. So you don't have to like them, but accept people even with their flaws and at least give respect for their loss, just for lives they led in terms of caring for their family and the positivity they brought in other aspects. I forgave him in whatever way he harvested racial views or took a secret audio recording to reveal them, and it otherwise never manifested in his day-to-day profession. God has a way of exposing people, as we see with this kiss cam, and stuff like that was meant to happen on purpose, in my opinion. I tend to accept life in general as it is flawed as we are. I'm trying to wrestle things to being right, accept things as they are. You said it's important to separate the person from the character he portrayed. And I do feel like that is something that I can absolutely do, separate the two. I'll never forget the joy his match with Warrior gave me in my grandmother's living room mania, but I can't forgive. Ooh, not being able to forgive is a very heavy, heavy feeling to have to be responsible for. Very, very heavy. We all done things we shouldn't have said or done. I bet the people who are still mad at Hogan probably said or done a lot worse in their lives. We're human and all flawed. Only your heavenly Father in heaven is perfect. That is very true. And it does make me think, like, I mean, are we really going to bring out the skeletons? Are we really going to put our thoughts or our words that we said in private on a projector for the people to see? Like, if we had a secret recording of like the things that we did in private, like, can we really pump our chest out and bow our chest out and say, hey, Hogan did blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. That sucks. That was deplorable. That was despicable. All right, now your turn. Let's bring out the private the private camera of things that you've done. And come on, man. Come on. So easily works. So easily words or actions or utter disgust to a specific race and culture that supported you and ultimately made you millions of dollars. I absolutely love your work, Chris. Thank you for giving us thought-provoking content on YouTube. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. Very nice of you. Very nice. I voted yes, but he should have been forgiven when he apologized. There you go. I think yes. Plus, also, people are judging guy they never actually met. I care far more about the opinions of those who actually knew him. Was he racist? I think guys like Rock, Teddy Long, Devon, and many others know the true answer to that. He wasn't perfect, but nobody is. Yep. For me, Chris, unfortunately, his death doesn't compute or constitute me for forgiving his statements and actions while he was alive and permanently secured my vision of him as a person when he represented. However, I thought about something profound you said on last night's show. Very nice to hear. Very nice that I'm causing people to think different. At least reconsider. That's my point. Just think more objectively. You can still come to the same conclusion, but think more objectively. Just take a few steps back and make sure that your conclusion is rational and justified. No, he wasn't accountable for his actions and did little work to change his behavior. We can both recognize his impact, contributions, and his character. How do we know that, though? That was like, what, 20 years ago? Close to it? How do we know that he hasn't done anything to change his character in 20 years? How do we know that? You don't get forgiveness when you never genuinely apologize. On top of that, even just last year, he was making more racist comments that were caught on video. I don't believe for a second that he ever changed. All right, there you go. No, he could not give a sincere apology, and it was clear that he still held those beliefs until he passed on. It's scary that people will let him get away with being the way he is because he's a wrestling legend. I definitely know people think he got away with it. A lot of people don't feel like he got away with it. Someone asked Grok whether racist things Hogan said about black people and should these things be forgiven because he's dead. My personal opinion is no, but disregarding your feelings. So looks like this person got a comment. See if Grok answered. Let's see. The Grok, yes, he did. Grok, it's did. Hulk Hogan, racist remarks came from 2007 leaked tape, 18 years ago, where he previously used N-words, sounded racist to a point, effing N-words about his and about his daughter dating. I'd rather love her. I'd rather have her marry an 8-foot tall N-word or for $100 million like a basketball player. He publicly apologized multiple times and was reinstated by WWE in 2018 after efforts at redemption. Forgiveness isn't automatic due to death. It's personal. His apologies and changes during life matter more than his passing. Based on evidence, many are forgiving him, but lingering harm to affect the communities persists. It's a pretty good take from Grok there. Yes, but not excused. His racist remarks were awful, and he faced consequences. WWE suspension, lawsuits. Forgiveness does not equal forgiving. Death means normal growth. So I focus on the full legacy, the harm and the inspiration he gave wrestling. We can learn from both. He gave an apology. He's also not a perfect human. Everyone posting on this thread acts like they're perfect in every aspect of their life. I call BS. Dude is dead. He's lived through everything, everyone hating, let him go. I mean, I think no need to be that towards someone else's opinion. I mean, I don't agree with everything that I just read, but at the same time, I respect their opinion, though. What's the alternative exactly? Hate forever? Roll on the floor laughing. God doesn't judge you or I or anyone. Why should we judge another? I don't know where you got that from. It's what the devil does, though. I fear control control someone's tongue or actions and gets everyone to accuse the individual. Shame, always forgive. Looks like I got a spam post that yeah, I'm not gonna show. And that is it. That's the poll right there. 62-38 in favor of yes, we should forgive Hulk Hogan. All right, y'all. Let me zoom through these questions. Question cam. That's my announcement because my back is tight and achy right now. Very much so. I'm trying to wiggle through it, and it's rough. So yeah, multi-layered, very, very fun show. Very multi-layered here. Lots of fun here. Lots and lots and lots of fun. So let me clear some things out to make sure that got some good reception here. And yeah. All right. Feel like a hole has been left in wrestling. Yes, absolutely. Have I watched Unreal? I talked about it on Bill After Dutch Mantel and I show. So go check that out. Oof. For those repeats, head over to Patreon and let's we'll talk about more here. How did I find out about Hogan's passing? I think someone I got a text message a little bit after the passing. I was told I was actually given a text the day before, the Wednesday, that his voice was very weak. I was told that his voice was very weak. I didn't report it because I just didn't find it necessary to get a text message about a private matter like that and just make news out of it. So I was like, nah, I'm good. I mean, prayers are with him. I was praying for him, and yeah. So there wasn't a need to make it newsworthy. To me, it was more like this is my opportunity to solicit God's grace and God's sovereignty in this particular situation. And so, all right, let's see what else we have. Danimo, what's up, my man? I'm mixed about Hogan. I've learned though, if you got nothing good to say about someone, don't say it. Oh, let me give you my question, Cam, at least, man. There you go. He did a lot I don't agree with. Now he's the biggest name in wrestling, hands down. Yep, I agree. I think Rollins thinks Austin is the GOAT. It's a nice debate I might have I might have some people on Patreon. Well, we're on the screen. We're on the screen on my Patreon anyways, and we have a great time hanging out there collectively. And yeah, I might have a debate soon of the proof, like a straight up formal debate of who's the GOAT, Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold. Let's see. All right, let me zoom through these, y'all. My bum back is getting real tight, man. My mom is better. She only is in the hospital for one night last two. Praise the Lord. That's awesome. Great to hear, man. Great to hear. Elvis Rollin is in the building. What's up, my man? The Hogan topics have already garnered so much interest. I've heard people say that Hogan is overrated. Hogan is one of the best, even though I have all said it's to go. I'm glad that you're getting Hogan his props. Josh, happy birthday on Saturday, please, Dr. Chris. Well, pretend that it's Saturday and happy birthday to Josh. There you go. Happy birthday, my man. Happy birthday. Earliest memory of Hogan. The things that stick out with me, WrestleMania was big too, but I remember the Saturday Night's main event, the first one. I mean, the advent of Saturday Night's main event when he was feuding with Paul Orndorff, like that stuck out to me. Like when they were teaming together, and then when Orndorff turned heel on Hogan. That was one of the things that stuck out to me the most when it comes to Hulk Hogan. Robert, not sure how people can celebrate death. Hulk Hogan had said a horrible word, but everyone makes a mistake sometime during their life. I mean, like the grave dancing. Come on, man. My goodness. It's unfortunate that Hogan felt the way that he did and said what he did, but in a weird and twisted way, made Hogan more interesting. This is why I used to mention him so much with debates. Here you go. The villains in the building. What's up? Elvis on Saturday, W5 choosing my city the best way he was 55. Man, Elvis, the somber newscaster, man. That's sad to hear. Sad to hear that. Thank you, Robert, for your encouragement, man. I know how you feel last year. Got home from the gym. I was like, dang, where's back come? Yeah, man, it's rough. I was just lifting like I always do. And it's just man, I just pulled something. It sucks, man. Ronald wanted to send me more videos. Ezekiel, I watched Bonaway's full 22-minute verse. His position is that can you have a legacy doing fake sports? It comes from an outsider perspective. Yeah, you can't have a legacy doing fake sports. That's like telling an actor that he can't have a legacy being a good actor. I mean, that just doesn't compute. Doesn't compute. Oh, well, no actor can have a legacy because they're doing choreographed, scripted stuff. That would be ridiculous. So, doesn't make sense. All right, y'all. Rollins got some great comments here, man. Let's see here. Rollins keeps his pulse on black content online. Oh, this is a good one. And I remember when you said that black folks wanted Hogan back. Some, judging by the grave dancing by black folks on social media, Hogan wouldn't have been safe at that barbecue. Yeah, I think, but here's the thing when it comes to the IWC, man. The IWC's, and Rollin, you're a very amazing avid supporter of my show, and I break that down. I break down a why behind that in my previous classes, man. I mean, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should consider. Oh, I shouldn't consider. Oh, I shouldn't call Hulk Hogan up. Okay, I won't call Hulk Hogan up. I mean, that's essentially that argument to many people. Let's see. All right, here we go. I'll be giving SummerSlam predictions on the after party. Come through. Whew. I think the self-injury might be a work, and he ends up cashing in during Gunther, Punk, or Cody Cena. Do you think that should happen too? Yeah, I don't see why they would do something like that, man. They could have easily had a match for Rollins, and he could have cashed it in. I mean, I don't really understand why these work stuff and I'm not a big fan of stuff like that. Why work an injury just to come back? I mean, that just seems like lazy booking to me. Especially since it didn't make sense of why. If it would have been a work, it would have made sense why. It wouldn't have made sense why they would do that. Nobody thought corny Hogan was in the 90s. That's correct. Attitude Era. I think so. Hogan was corny compared to NWO Hogan in the 1990s. NWO Hogan was the man for sure. All right, y'all. Let's see if I have any more from someone who hasn't asked a question yet. Ask Doc. Y'all have some wonderful, wonderful questions, man. But I tell you what, my back is really, really, really tight right now. Man, y'all got some good questions, man. Whew. I understand what Hogan did was wrong, but new younger generation uses that word. All younger races say the word freely now. Doesn't make it right, but I have had that conversation many times before. I'm like, come on now, don't say it for show. Clipside. Any news on the Mr. Man car accident today? Haven't got into that yet. I'll dig more into it though. Hogan could have been the biggest name with Austin. Could have been greatest ever. Interesting take there. Content creators can't forgive Hogan. I mean, that's true, especially since Hogan paved the way for content creating. Yes, I need to get back on your Patreon. I don't even have the app anymore because I didn't have room on my phone, but I have a new phone now, so I can re-download the app. Good stuff now. Patreon, that's a great segue, ladies and gentlemen. Patreon.com/pancakes and power standards. We're going to be on there for a little bit doing the SummerSlam trivia and SummerSlam predictions. Come join us, and I'm going to hurry up and do that, and I'm going to rest my back, y'all. This was really, really fun, as always. Like I said, multi-layered show. I had a lot of clips from you. I had a book excerpt. I had a poll. Again, this is the content that I give you on Pancakes and Power Slams. I do it for you. I'll spend my time making sure that this content is top notch, and then I give you time to express yourself in the chat. So we have a lot of fun every single week. Patreon.com/pancakes and power slams. We're heading over there just for a little bit, y'all. I need to get some rest. I appreciate all your help. Pray for me as my back is getting really, really tight sitting down right now, for sure. Getting really, really, really tight. Yes, get those likes up, as my man Rollin is talking about. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless, and always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night, everybody. Salute.